Hello everybody, and thank you for joining me. My name is Gabriel Brent, and we are doing another episode of the forecasting of the Apazone Swing Pub. Okay, so in the Swing Pub, we are forecasting the Forex markets as well as the E-mini S&P, and we have slightly a new look and feel, if you will. Just so everybody can follow along with us, this is a multiple time frame predictive session that we do, and for the most part we're going to be looking at the weekly and the daily time frames. A lot of times we do our entries on a 4-hour or 60-minute chart as well. We also have the wonderful Apazone's Elite software actually scanning all the different Forex pairs and telling us when they line up for a swing trade position so that we can do our swing trades in a matter of moments instead of a lot of analysis in time. It automatically alerts us to when everything is happening here in real time and what is with the direction of trend and what is not. Okay, so as we are moving into the swing pub, just to get the assumptions out there, this is last week's forecast, okay? All these little notes here. And as we move into this week's review of last week's forecast, as well as predicting out the future, we're just going to be comparing to see how well we've really done here, okay? Are we up to snuff or not, okay? And what were we looking to have happen, and did that actually play out, okay? So let's go ahead and get started here. And first off, I want to make sure that everybody is familiar with the Apazone's trend following system. All of this stuff is based upon that prior knowledge. So if you're not familiar with the Apazone's trend following system, please check out our Apazone's website and you can learn more information there. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce my partner in crime here, Mr. William. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
All right, good deal, good deal. And let's go ahead and start off with the euro dollar. So with the euro dollar, we said that we were down and looking for a new low as it continues to move to the weekly level, okay? So this is the range that we've been playing for, and we were looking for it to bounce off of this weekly level. Now, with price action doing what it has done over the previous week, would we say that that has come to fruition? Well, I would say no, it has not. And if we look at the daily chart, you can see that we've really just been bouncing kind of back and forth with a great amount of indecision here on the euro dollar. Now, the down trend direction could be working out, but right now it seems to be moving from a trending motion because over the last week we've really started to form more of a range. So our trend should be turning here any moment now from the down and trending to down and rangy. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for. I still am looking at this overall type of idea to continue, but right now it doesn't seem to be playing out. So William, would you agree with that?
Yes, I would.
Okay, so we're going to say that we're still looking for the new low, but it's rangy right now.
We're on the AUDCAD. We'll check the weekly time frame out real quick. All right, here we are on the weekly, and you can see the price moving from this demand down here, this brown weekly demand level. Kind of took a pause for a minute, or for not a minute, for about a week or so, and then we made a new demand level, continuation level, and we're still heading up to the weekly supply level. Kind of getting a reaction all this week. You know, we're forming an exhaustion candle, but the week ain't over yet, so we'll see how this candle ends up forming tomorrow, after tomorrow, or whatever. And but I still expect this thing to get all the way up to the weekly level. It's beating this trend line. We got, like I said earlier, we got a reaction to the downside all this week. But it's highly possible that this thing can continue up to the week and make it there. probably in the next week or two. Here we are on the daily, and you can see why this weekly candle is forming the way it's forming. On the daily chart, we're at a zone. There we are. We're at a zone. We're at this weekly supply, daily supply zone at this trend line right here. Got a 2-bar, getting a 2-bar engulf today, so this thing, it possibly could come back down. I don't know where, but basically, you know, this level and this level above it are basically at the top of the range. This level, we wanted to see it get to this higher level, but we're getting a reaction off of this level for the time being. As you can see in the prior drop that happened before today, the prior 2 days drop, you see how the sellers took control of the market and pushed it back down very, very far. You see this big drop, and we're getting back to this level, and you know, we're finding sellers again. So I don't know how far down this thing can go. We might get down here, back down to this demand level, and then go back up. But for the time being, you know, the bears are in control of the market on the daily, and we'll see what happens next. But as far as the prediction up to the weekly, we're kind of seeing that it almost got there. It didn't quite get there yet, but it almost got there within like 50 pips, pretty close. So this pretty much came to fruition, and now we're seeing the after effect of what happens when it gets up there. At first I said I wanted to see it get here, but you know, this daily level is in control right now, so I don't know. We might get a drop, a considerable drop down to this daily demand before we see anything else, you know, play out. So just seeing what happens next. But this last week's prediction up to the weekly is pretty much came to fruition. It just we stopped short, but we almost got there. You know. But this daily supply zone is in control right now, so we'll see how far this thing drops from here, and we'll see if we can get another push up when we get down to this level or not. So I don't know if you still want to call it up to the weekly. I think we kind of made it almost to the weekly, and now we're getting a retracement, exactly, retest. Okay, let's see what it gave on the.
That's what I'm
thinking.
You know, I'm thinking that we're still going to go up to the weekly, but right now, I really wouldn't be surprised to see a retest of this new weekly level. You know, and while this may look like a major reversal, I think it's going to be short-lived. Okay, and coming back down here, then retest the big weekly level like what we're looking at. The wonderful thing about the zones is we have a good understanding of context and what should be happening. However, we can't always predict that it's going to happen out in 1 week. You know, sometimes a lot of these moves take a few weeks or a month, but yet we're seeing it in real time and we know what's going on. We just can't always say that it's going to happen within 1 week. You know.
Okay, here we are on the Aussie Swiss. We're going to check out this weekly chart. And you can see this thing's basically been a big broad range here on the weeklies, and the latest move, obviously we're coming back up to retest this level. Okay, I expected to get up in here sometime in the near future, maybe by next week, but we're on our way back up to this yellow level here, coming to find the top of the range again. Once we get there, we'll see what happens. If we're gonna get a fall, or if we're gonna continue through the zone, but for now, you know, that zone's still in play. We just gotta see what's gonna happen when we get into that level. See if price is gonna respect that weekly level and find sellers again or not. And you can see we're up in this in this brown daily supply level, getting a little reaction from it. I don't know if we're going to get a major drop or not. Today's been an indecision day. we might find ourselves coming back down here in this little consolidation area and then back up. Yeah, if we do beat this level, we're going to continue down for a little bit. But for the time being, we're just taking a little breath right now. This thing could turn around and head back to the north side. We can find ourselves beating this chocolate level, or coming to the top of this chocolate level and finding sellers again. I like to play the bottom third and the last third of the zones to find areas to find reversal areas. So we could get up in here somewhere where this green box is, up to the top of this chocolate zone, and then find sellers. Or we could end up coming down to this consolidation and then finding more buyers in the near term. Or we might end up beating this little level here and continue down a little bit further before we get another push up again. So those are the scenarios that I have in my head. But overall, we're still looking up to get to that weekly level. What Gabe has here, yeah, up to the weekly range. Yeah, we're just trying to find our way to the top of the range and then see if this level is going to hold and find some respect, and then find sellers to push the market back down again. This play is still playing out. This prediction is still playing out.
All right, looking at the AJ market, or the Aussie yen market, we were looking at a downtrend, okay, and the bounce off the weekly zone. All right, so as we look at the weekly level here, you can see the bounce that we have received off of the weekly zone. All right, and this thing is starting to pop up to the upside here off of the weekly with a really good strong weekly bar, and that really goes along with what we were looking at last week. Was we're looking for this bounce off this level. All right, but on the daily time frame, I think it's important to consider where we are. Okay, and we are still in the downtrend. All right, but this week we have something very interesting happening. Like in the previous markets, we saw the big green candles that were just a few pips below the supply level. This one has actually hit the supply level. All right, so we have multiple bounces off of this level, as we can see here. Just this thing like pegging this thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Okay, so this level is weak, okay, but it is still with trend, so we want to be respectful of the trend first and foremost. All right, so I'm going to be really watching this one, okay, and really looking for price to break to the downside. Now, yes, this could be a brand new trend type of thing, and we could see trend reverse here off of the big weekly level. That is definitely a possibility. But our last week's prediction, I feel like it has turned just like what we saw, okay? And we're going to be looking for a possible down this week, and we will see if that plays out here or not.
All right, here we are on the Aussie dollar. First off, let's go into this little prediction from last week. We're expecting the Aussie dollar to move up to the weekly supply level, okay? So let's dive into this chart here and let's see what's going on. And as you can see, we have been moving and still are moving up to this supply level. Looks like we're about to make a new high from this prior high that happened, what, three weeks ago. Looks like we're about to beat that and get into this level again. So the prediction is coming to fruition as we speak, and here in the short term, we should see price reach that weekly level. Now here on the daily, you can see the trend is up. You can see levels being created in a stair-step manner to the upside. Nice trend line being drawn here. It's being respected, and probably we're going to see reaction when we get to this purple level, which is well within that weekly level. So basically, you just want to wait and see what happens when we get up in here. See if we can find some respect off of this level and find sellers to drive the market back down, or if we might beat this level or not. Only time will tell. But You know, for the most part, this thing's up and, well, what happened to the charts? What happened, Gabe? Oh, it just moved. Oh, why'd that happen? But for the most part, this thing is still on its way up to the weekly level.
So over here on the Euro Pounder EG, as I like to call them, you can see on the weekly time frame, and excuse me, I should say our last week's prediction was up and trending, and I'm looking for a check mark trade. Okay, so let's see what has happened over this week here. We've actually been going to the downside on this one. The weekly level is right there, so that is exactly what we were looking for, and now we're just looking for that check mark trade to pan out here. Okay, so over here on the daily, this is where the check mark trade actually happens. All right, so we've pushed down into the zone over the past week, and this is what we're waiting for. And now we just need price action to confirm the check mark trade, okay, and take us back up to the upside. Now the trend on this market is up and trending here. If we look at the weekly chart, you'll notice that this is a chocolate level up there, which means it's been hit several times. So on both the weekly and the daily chart, it looks like we have weak zones in the direction of trend. So, well, I should say weak counter trend zones. All right, so the trend can be up and we can be looking to push even higher on this thing. Okay, so here's the check mark trade. It's ready to rock and roll here. We just are waiting for price action to confirm that. So same thing as last week, except it's actually coming to fruition. Like this is really working out here. So that's a really, really good sign.
Okay, here we're on the pound Aussie. Last week, Gabe noted that he's looking to the down and looking for a check mark off a daily chart, off a daily zone, and trade to the downside. Well, let's just dive into the weekly chart and get into it a little bit. Here on the weekly, you can see prices drop after Brexit, just continue to drop. And we finally found a little support down here. Okay, didn't make it to the zone, but we found support, little pullback, and looks like Gabe's prediction is starting to pan out. Okay, and here on the daily, you can see it in more detail. Obviously, you can see the support being found, and then we're pushing to the upside a little bit here. Want to see price get up into this daily zone, this upper level, and then find sellers again and push this bad boy back to the downside. As we know that all the pound markets are going to be pretty weak for quite a while, you know. So you should expect to sell these unless you're getting on a counter trend trade somewhere. If you can find a good area to, you know, get a little counter trend trade in somewhere, expect to just sell these markets, you know. Just we want to just be sellers in these pound markets overall. Okay. Here on the notes down and looking for check mark off daily chart, trade to the downside. That's basically what we're looking for still. We're just waiting for this price to get to this level here on the daily. Wait for our price action to confirm our sellers in control again, and then here we hop on.
All right, looking at the pound CAD or the GC markets, we are looking for a bounce off the weekly demand, okay, which has happened, and it should give us money bounce for a possible trade to the downside here. All right, so has that happened? Well, I think it really has. All right, so we see the money bounce off the weekly level. All right, so we've gotten that part done. Now, how high is this going to go? Well, I really can't tell you, all right? But we could see price action looking like this, where it goes up, comes down, gives us a little retracement, a little retest of the low, and then pushes even higher. Like this could be a major reversal for this one. Or, in the more trend follow approach, which is always the safer one to go with, would be that it will bounce off of this zone here, this nice little daily zone, circled this area as an area that I'm looking for, and we can kind of see what we're looking at here. Okay, so that's what I wanted to note about this, is that this is actually the money bounce that goes with the trend. The trend is down, so let's go with the trend, do the money bounce in the direction of trend, and we will all go home happy. All right, so as far as the notes go, I don't see any reason why to change these notes on this particular instrument here.
All right, here we are on the pound yen, and last week you can see Gabe has jotted down that looking to continue down, then bounce off the Brexit candle and continue down. Okay, yeah, the Brexit candle right there. All right, let's dive into this weekly chart. Here we are on the weekly. You can see the retracement and why it happened. Fresh weekly level down here. You know, some institution had some, or institutions, rather should I say, had some buy orders, you know, just sitting here waiting from way back when the market finally found them. And they stepped in and pushed the market to the upside here. This is the Brexit candle here. I don't know how far Gabe was, how far he wanted to see this get retraced into this candle, but this week's been a nice bullish week for the pound yen. It beat this fresh supply level here, and it looks like it's going to keep going up a while. Just don't know how far up it's going to go. We don't have any legs to stand on over here except for these lows over here, this low. Could possibly get up to here before we see another reaction. It could go all the way back to the brown level. I don't know if it will or not, but we just don't know how far this thing is going to retrace before we see another push to the downside. Let's go over to the daily, see if we get any levels on it. And here on the daily, you can see this big level got formed on that Brexit candle. This big level here got formed on this Brexit candle. It's just super big level. Software just does that sometimes. You can adjust this level. I'd say adjusting it up to this area here, if you don't mind me doing so.
No, not at all.
Take in a flip-flop manner and then back down to the downside. There's a strong possibility that could happen, but we just gotta wait and see what happens. We gotta sit on our hands and wait to see if we get a price action event, or price action in our favor that tells us we found sellers and we're heading back down again. So yeah.
I think this is very interesting and very telling, because we see price beating a weekly level and the daily level there. So this level was newly created and it didn't respect that weekly level at all.
At all.
And there wasn't any misconceptions about this thing was gonna kind of sort of bounce off of it, nothing. And if we're gonna see a level, like a big weekly level break, this is the way I want to see a weekly level break, because that way I have no chance of jumping in on this thing to the downside. None whatsoever,
None.
Not even a possibility. So because the trap a lot of times is it just comes down far enough that you jump into it, and then it hits you like this. But when you have a clean break like this, there wasn't even an opportunity to jump into the south side. And I really appreciate that from the institutions, just to like completely clear out the level. If we do see a retracement back into this zone, okay, we could take it to the upside because we have free room to run to the upside right now, okay? Looking at how we've readjusted things. So to me, I would say that we need to change things around here a little bit and start looking at this as more of a reversal, considering with what great force it did this in. And that was pretty major, if you ask me. Okay.
Yeah, that weekly demand level where we got the reaction from is being respected, it's being very well respected. So, can expect that thing to continue on up, just like Gabe was saying. I just don't know where it's going to stop and turn again, but it's going up for right now. So, it'd be safe to play this to the upside for a little while. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. This big push, man. Look at that candle. Look how big that candle is on the weekly. It beat 2 prior candles. Okay, I mean that's just great force, great buying pressure being implemented right now. So you just got to keep that in mind.
We normally don't look for a counter like this, but considering with what force this thing has done this with, it's kind of like looking at a tide wave coming and saying like, oh well, my I don't know, my Mercedes is going to stop the tide wave from coming, you know, like don't even try, you know. So it doesn't even relate, you know. So let's just let the trend do what it wants to do on this one, and I'm going to be looking for a bounce off of a new zone to something like this, and then look for the money bounce here to be happening. Now this may be a couple weeks out, but that's what I'm seeing happen here. Alright, so looking at the GN, or the pound New Zealand or pound Kiwi dollar, okay, or pound Kiwi I should say, there's not really a dollar included in that one, but anyway, so we were looking at this thing coming up here a little bit from last week as we're looking at the big weekly levels, and again, as we look at the big weekly levels, we see nothing below us here, okay, so this really needs to have some more back data added here. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. So it doesn't look like we have any more data to load on this chart. So we've beaten the most recent demand levels on the big weekly time frame. So coming over to the daily time frame, we are at a decision point, okay? This aqua zone that we just now touched today, this is very, very relevant, okay? We were seeing that this is going to happen, okay, and the trend follow play would be to take this to the downside because the trend is down, all right, and we've beaten the most recent demand levels, okay, so if we've broken through demand, that probably means that the supply curve is shifting, okay, all right, so we want to be continuing to look to the downside. If not, then this would be the counter trend play. This would be the trend follow play, okay? It's just to the downside. The counter trend looks something like this, and you can see that I went over that scenario last week as well, all right? But right now, this looks like it's coming to fruition, okay? And as we come over here to the notes here, looking for a money bounce off the weekly, okay? So, and looking for a potential flip-flop zone type of idea, all right? So we're going to probably change that around just a little bit, okay? But that is really what we're going with here. So let's see if we can see the flip-flop zone, all right? Let's see if we can see that flip-flop, all right? So we can kind of see where that flip-flop area is right here, all right? Mixture of these two levels. Want to see the flip-flop happen probably in the top part of that zone right there. Okay, so just be waiting patiently for this thing to play out, and this will be the money bounce off of this level here. Okay, so that's what we're going to be waiting for.
The New Zealand dollar last week, Gabe was looking for a long to continue. Okay, and on the weekly, oh shoot, oh that's not what I want. I want to scroll over. Here we go. And here we are on the weekly. You can see I should draw a nice trend line. Grab that. Let's draw a trend line on this. Pop a trend line in. All right. And you can see why Gabe said he's looking for this to continue to the upside because we're moving up. You know, we even got level being respected. This brown level, this brown weekly level is old. Got respected not once, not twice, but 3 times. And we formed a new level on top of this level. So they're stacking on the weekly time frame to the upside. So strong indication that this trend is going to continue to the upside. Seems like we're getting a little bit of resistance over here off of these lows for this week, but I expect this just to be like a little, we're just taking a little breath right now, and then we're going to continue to push up. Let's go over to the daily. We might have even hit a daily zone on the daily chart. Let's see if we did. And lo and behold, we're getting a reaction off of this old daily zone here. Okay. But the trend is up. We even came down in this fresh demand zone here on the daily. So we got a little reaction out, but I don't feel like that's strong enough to convince me that we're going to continue up off of this level. I'd like to see it come down further into this level. Even, well, actually, I have to look on my entry chart to see what's panning out on it, but I don't think any big reaction has came off of this level just of yet. I like to see it get further into this level, and then look at price action on my entry chart to take an entry off of this level here. So this market is prime for a long position to be taken here in the short term. Maybe in the next day or like tomorrow, or maybe next week, Monday or Tuesday, I don't know, but this thing is looking primed to go to the upside again. We're making higher highs. Yeah, this trend's intact. We're just looking to sell this level. Somewhere in this level, we're looking to find some buyers and to continue pushing this to the upside. Yeah, it's pretty much cut and dry as it can get right there, fellas. Ladies and gentlemen. We're just looking to buy this right now. And where is he? Looking for long to continue. Yep, I'm looking for the long to continue still. There's no trend change that I can see that's happening in the near future anytime. This thing is going to just keep continuing up to the upside. So.
All right, looking at the dollar CAD, you can see here we are waiting as we are in a wedge, and this is what it looks like on the weekly. So nice tight little wedge. It did some interesting things this week, and I feel like it started to break out of the wedge. Okay, so you can kind of see how it's really nicely respecting the level, and it broke up and it gave us a new high right there. Okay, and now it's right back in the middle of the wedge. So I'm really expecting, if the trend is truly to the upside, I'm expecting us to go up like this. Okay, so we're going to be looking for that to happen this coming week, is for a response out of this level. If it breaks this level, then we're in no man's land. We're just back and forth in between these two big levels here as it gets tighter and tighter, and it will break out eventually, but if it doesn't respond to the upside here in the next couple days, then we're just going to be back and forth in amongst this chop and range, and pretty much no man's land to trade. All right, so right now it's still, there is a slight bullish bias in my mind on this market, so I like that idea, but at the same time realize that we're retesting right back into the middle of a wedge and looking for, or basically something new to continue here. Okay, so as far as our notes from last week go, we are in the middle of the wedge, and this week we're going to be changing that a little bit to a slight bullish bias in correspondence with the elite, telling us that we're going to be to the upside here. So that's what we're looking at for this particular market.
All right. All right. He's got here looking for new low and retest of weekly demand. Okay. Let's dive into this chart. He's wanting to see this thing get down. Is there did we get into a level, dead zone?
Oh, we
okay, we beat that one. We beat that one, yeah. All right. So he's wanting to see this thing get down to this level and then get a reaction off of this level. Well, we didn't get there. We're just a little bit short, but we did get a reaction. back to the upside in a retracement manner. It looks like because at this 100 level, the Bank of Japan, they don't want to see this thing get too much lower. I've been watching a lot of Bloomberg and listening to what the hype is over Japan, and they don't want to see that. I don't even know why their currency got so strong in the beginning. Anyway, like they're going through a lot of stuff over there. They're going through all kinds of QE and all kinds of crazy stuff. But they didn't want to see this drop this far, okay? So they're defending this 100 level. They don't want to see this thing get below 100, And you can see what happened. Somebody stepped in and bought the heck out of this thing, pushed it to the upside. Gabe was expecting to get down here. I was too, but we just didn't get there. But we're still getting the same reaction that we were looking for, just not at the level. So, but here we're on the daily, okay, and you can see this big wick right down here at 99. This big wick came into play, and got a big push up. Anytime I see these big wicks, I know that there's got to be some orders left. There's just too much buying too fast for this day. Rapid expansion down, rapid expansion back up. Day close. Got a little bit of a rally still. Back down. Found more buyers. Back up. So, Gabe's prediction panned out. Just didn't happen at the level. Happened at its daily level instead of the weekly. We found buyers right here at the edge of this daily level. Just kissed this daily level. Found buyers, and then got back down almost 2/3, 3/4 of the way down this wick, and found more buyers, push it back to the upside. So the retest is in effect. The retracement to the upside is in effect. We got a pause here in this daily supply zone. We're steady pushing higher. We're almost to the last third of the zone. I like to break these zones into thirds. If we get a reaction here, fine. The middle, I'm not really too concerned with. And then if we beat the middle, we got to come to this side, this part of the zone. And if we get a reaction here, fine. If not, we're going to continue up. My analysis is very binary in that aspect. I like to see price action events happen in these thirds of these levels. If they don't, then I don't get in. I see a trade or I don't. I don't sit around and monkey around with second guessing my analysis. If we don't see a reaction here in this top third of the zone, then we're going to beat the zone and continue to the upside, which I feel is it's going to happen. I don't see this thing coming down again because they don't want to see this thing get too much lower. They just don't. You can see the chart telling us that. Somebody's defending this 99 level with authority, and the market's found buyers, and the buyers are in control right now. So this daily level's in control. That weekly level that we didn't make it to, pretty much can say it's in control. The price is respecting that level, even though it didn't get there. It still found this daily level is right above that weekly level. Found buyers, and the buyers are in control and pushing the market to the upside. So I expect this level, if we don't find sellers here in the near term, it's going to get violated, and we're going to continue to the upside. So two ways you can look at this market: finding sellers here in the top third of this level and pushing it back down, or the level being violated and continuing to the upside. That's how I look at this market right now.
Personally speaking, on the dollar pound, I'm going to say that while we didn't see a new low down there, I'm going to be looking for the retracement of the current low. Okay, so we're looking for the money bounce to the downside as far as the trend follow play to go. Now this may not work out like what you were saying, and we may see pop to the upside. But I'm going to do the simple one, which is just obey the trend, run with the trend, no matter what the news says, you know, money bounce to the downside. So that's what I'm looking for, okay? And we'll just see how that plays out here over the next week, and see. And it's also possible that we could, you know, like I said, go do the range thing. If this happens to be really the low, then it might range around here for a while. So we just got to wait patiently until price action confirms what we think is going to happen here. And I'm just going to see if price action confirms this level to the downside or not. So that's what I'm looking for. So anyway, thank you everybody for joining us here today. We appreciate your time. And again, please feel free to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we will be doing this again next week, same bat time, same bat station. Till then, God bless.